shootings at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and dozens of other schools and public places this last year has renewed the debate over school safety and reasonable gun laws in our country. What's the best way to prevent school shootings, and what is your position on the NRA?
So, to give you a little bit more of my background, I grew up in the culture of gun safety. My father's a lifelong hunter. He's the person that taught me how to shoot. I qualified as an expert in the M16, the Colt 45, and the 9mm Beretta when I was in the military, and continued to shoot when I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office. I know that there are weapons of war that should not be found on the streets of New Jersey. I know that the way to keep our kids safe is through common sense gun safety legislation. We need to make sure we have universal background checks, something that over 90% of the people in this country agree with. We need to make sure that that domestic abusers don't have access to firearms. We need to make sure that people that are severely mentally handicapped and have severe mental problems don't have access to firearms. These are things I just mentioned are all things that my opponent, Jay Weber, voted against in the Assembly. He is not somebody that is standing up for our kids or standing up for good, common sense gun safety legislation. He has received an A from the NRA and has recently been endorsed by the NRA. I know the NRA. My father was a lifetime member of the NRA. There was evidently a time, before my time, when it stood for things like sportsmanship and gun safety. I can assure you it no longer stands for that. It is a gun manufacturing lobby, and it is the reason that we don't see better common sense gun safety legislation. It is the reason we don't see the CDC studying this epidemic of gun violence more, and I am opposed to the NRA.
What year are you?
I'm a junior.
Your daughter was a junior at Morristown.
Yeah, my friend swims in your bar.
Okay. Proof that I'm a swim dad before I'm a congressional candidate, for sure. I think the best way to prevent school shootings, in a word, is vigilance. Vigilance by law enforcement, vigilance by our school administration, vigilance by legislators, vigilance by parents in the community. Trying to anticipate and detect potential threats to our students is the best way to prevent tragedies like we've seen all across the country and far too often. As a legislator, I think there are things we can do and laws we can create that help make our communities safer. And I've done that. I've passed them, I've voted for them and supported them just this year. Improving background checks, for example, for gun sales, something I voted for in the state assembly. Voting for things like red flag legislation, which allows law enforcement, after due process rights have been respected, to take guns away from people who are a threat to themselves or to others. Banning things like armor-piercing bullets, requiring gun safety classes for people who are pursuing licenses for gun ownership, and taking guns out of the hands of domestic abusers, and increasing penalties for those who commit crimes with guns. Those are some of the things that I've done in the state assembly. I would advocate for in the House of Representatives, and I will be an advocate for it.
What about the NRA?
Second part.
The second part of the question.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. I forgot. I started thinking about swimming. The NRA, I think, is a group that has every right to speak and participate in our public life, just as the National Organization of Women does, or the March for Our Lives group does. It is a group of citizens who gets together and wants to defend a right they think is important. And why we would marginalize them is beyond me. I see a lot of shaking heads, and this is exactly the problem we were talking about. When you want to marginalize a group, we talked about the problems on college campuses, and if you disagree with someone, you want to kick them off of campus. Well, apparently if you want to disagree with somebody, you want to kick them out of the public debate. Guess what? This is America, and you don't get to do that. People who band together and want to talk about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights have every right to do that, and they have every right to participate in our public life, and I think they should.